YouTube. Welcome on the India's largest online discussion platform currently, that is the LPC, Live Pharma Coalitions. Live Pharma Coalition brought to you various topic around the pharma. First week dedicatedly for the LPC leadership. Second week is for the LPC global. Then this is the second week for the LPC global. LPC third week it's for the young. LPC fourth week it's dedicatedly for the LPC the learning and development as well as the academic. And the fifth week it comes in the month that is for the LPC one.
Welcome on the
So, just you can mute yourself. Correct. So about the various departments across the pharma which has been come and collaborate with the LPC, that is the marketing and sales from the majority, learning and development team as well as the academic team. Along with that, the quality control, quality assurance, research and development. So various the speakers they do collaborate to the LPC from the finance as well as from the HR department. So I would like to just share my screen. So online learning platforms LPC, the March 14, 2021. Welcome all audience from the Facebook as well as from the YouTube. Now here we have a LPC disclaimer. LPC online discussion is an the non-profit initiative having the non-commercial intent. Viewers, experts by the speakers and the panelist moderator are there the individual opinion based on the experience and having no concern with the organization or LPC. Here we will like to appreciate the consistent viewer of the LPC 45. Thank you so much. Then coming to LPC 46. Today we have two parts of the LPC 46. Since the LPC 46 is the second week for the global, in that global that at the beginning at the initiations that we are going to inaugurate the book, right? This is the A part. We will explain about it, and the B part will be LPC 46 will be our own the speaker. They will have a global talk onto topics. So coming back to first part. In a first part, we have a book inauguration. So name of the book is the Arjuna in the Corporate Mahabharat. Here today we do have Dr. Shashank Joshi along with us with Archie Joshi. So I would like to just introduce the Dr. Padma Shri, Dr. Shashank Joshi. Dr. Shashank Joshi is a senior consultant at the Lilavati Hospitals and Joshi Clinic, Bandra. Progressively, the Padma Shri awardee, and he has like the good awards and the various renowns, the prestigious things in his the pocket. So a few of them could be Professor Shashank Joshi is currently the president of Indian Academy of Diabetic, past president of the Endocrine Society of India, immediate past president of the API, Association of Physicians of India, in 2014 and 15, and past president of RSSDI, that is the Research Society of the Study of Diabetes in India, consultant endocrinologist at the Lilavati Hospitals and the Bhati Hospitals and the Joshi Clinic. He is a former faculty at the Grand Medical College and the St. J.S. Medical College in Medicine and Endocrinology. Dr. Shashank R. Joshi is a practicing endocrinologist and the diabetologist who has stopped all the years of MBBS, MD, and DM with the gold medal. He is the fellow of the American College of Endocrinology, USA, American College of Physicians, USA, and the fellow of the renowned College of the Physicians, London, Glasgow of Edinburgh. He has more than the 800 research published to his credit. He is the honor of the emeritus editions of the JAPI, that is the Journal of the Association of Physicians of India, ex-editor of ex-editor of the Indian Journal of Obstetricians, Indian Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolisms, and Indian Journal of the Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics, and the several other leading medical journals. he is affiliated to several leading hospitals of the hospital cities, including the Lilavati and Bhati Hospital. He is the past president and AARO, All India Association of Advance and the Research in Obstetricians, IASO affiliated. Past chapter chairs Indian American Association of the Clinical Endocrinologist, AACE. He is visiting faculty to several Indian and the international universities. He is actively involved in the evidence-based working in the endocrinology, including the diabetes, obstetricians, thyroid, osteoporosis, and the growth. He was awarded the International Clinician of the Year 2012 by the American College of the Endocrinology. He has been the confirmed in 2041 Padma Shri by Government of India. Now, to have an inauguration program, I will hand over it to the Archie sir. Archie sir, over to you. You can unmute.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Raman. And let's have a message from
Thank
Dr.
you,
Joshi.
Archis, for having me here, and thank you for the kind words. It gives me a great pleasure to inaugurate this book, the Arjun in Corporate Mahabharat. And really, it is truly outstanding for a extraordinary author, Archis Hemant Joshi, who has been in corporate world with human touch. And as I inaugurate his book, I have a huge pleasure in introducing my good friend Archis, who I've known for almost 20 years now. We all know that today the environment in corporates is no different from Mahabharata. Every day we fight for small battles, fight with people, tolerate dirty politics, helplessly witness power games, diminishing human values, compromisation of ethics, dilution of cultures, and this whole vritti or behavior of Mahabharata is surrounding in corporate life. This really is a story of Arjun, which represents the Arjun in corporate Mahabharata. The story, a lesson, a self-assessment, and a behavioral change and a free presentation. And Archis, in its very impeccable style of writing, has compounded and collated this beautiful book which is dedicated to his mother. And I'm very happy and proud to show that I am happy that Archis has collated this in a very simple way. And I would call this as Archis portraying Arjuna in the modern corporate world and using the eulogy of Mahabharata, how to handle it in a better way. I once again congratulate Archis Joshi, who has been in corporate sector, particularly the pharmaceutical industry, and has been closely involved with healthcare with human touch. He's an excellent human being, has a keen interest in not only pharmaceutical science, marketing, sales, but also has a keen interest in human resource and development of human personality and human beings. So Archis, once again, congratulations to you. And I wish you all the success for Arjun in Corporate Mahabharat by Archis Hemant Joshi. Congratulations once again, Archis. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity for inaugurating your wonderful book, and wish you and the book every success. And to every participant here, I would advise you that have kindness, have compassion, be ambitious, but remember that in your day-to-day life, we will face many Mahabharats. But listen to Krishna and what Krishna told Arjun, and use the Arjun way to live your life. Jai Hind.
Yeah. So thanks, Dr. Joshi. I think this was a message from Dr. Joshi. And Raman has introduced Dr. Joshi, but I think in one single line, I would like to tell, those who stay in India or connected to the medical fraternity in India, I think there cannot be a bigger occasion, than Dr. Joshi coming onto the LPC platform for all of us. So I from LPC point of view also, I feel, it's a historic occasion. It's a glamorous name, which looking at that, we have stood up to this particular profession. So it's a great honor for me, LPC, and my book, everybody, to have Dr. Shashank Joshi to inaugurate the book. Thanks.
Yeah. So thank you so much, sir. Sir, from the LPC side as well as from the audience side, we will have some questions to you, sir. So first questions that we do have it. Why the book name Arjun in Corporate Mahabharata? What is it exactly, sir?
Yeah. So I think, see, this is a crux of the book, correct? And see, today I will be very conscious because, there are brilliant speakers and brilliant topics are concerned. So I will not take more than 3 minutes for my answer to save the time. But let me give you some background of, Mahabharata. See, if you look at the battle of Mahabharata, now in this battle of, Mahabharata, which happened on the Kurukshetra, see, when Arjun was facing all his opponents, are you getting it? When he stood into the Ranangan of the Kurukshetra and look at all the people standing in front of him, he found, all his relatives, he found all his friends, he found, all the people close to him. And when he looked at all these people, and then he started thinking, if fighting with these people and winning after, defeating with them, what kind of pleasure I am going to get? Is it worth fighting with these guys? Or what is the war going to yield me? Is this karma more important than, my people over there? But the biggest product of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. What is Bhagavad Gita is that, when Arjun at a moment of confusion, you know, he was guided by Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna, his role was important. Lord Krishna has not fought the war. The war was fought by Arjun and the Pandav army. But Lord Krishna helped him to correct the thought process of Arjuna at that point of time. And he told them, karma is important. He explained him karma, and that became the Bhagavad Gita. So, in nutshell, if I have to tell, in Mahabharata, Arjun was very lucky because when Arjun had questions in the mind, there was a Krishna to guide him. What is difference between why the person's name is Arjun in corporate Mahabharata? Because Raman, you, I, or everybody today in the corporate life, are equally confused or having equally questions in our mind like Arjun. But difference between us as a Arjun and him as a Arjun is that, that Arjun was having Krishna to guide. And we are all Arjuns who do not have any Krishna to guide. So today we live the life of Arjun practically in our corporates. When, if you look at today's corporate, whichever the corporate you work, means the issues are related to people. Are you getting it? We face so many things. We face so many issues. We face so many different people related issues in our day-to-day life. Winning that is what pleasure is going to give us. So for the today's Arjun who lives in the corporate, for him the Mahabharata is all corporate there. And we are practically not having any Krishna. So when Krishna is not there, what this Arjun is doing? Correct? So when Krishna is not there, this Arjun is finding out his own way. So this Arjun is finding out his own way through various journeys of his questions, confusions, his doubts, or whatever is coming to him. So Arjun in corporate Mahabharata is thus evaluated. Central character in all the 30 small stories is Arjun. And this Arjun hence gets influence from the Arjun in Mahabharata. He faces, these 30 situations in his corporate life. Now, for these 30 situations, he he assesses the situations on his own. Okay, this has happened. So this Arjun thinks, okay, so what is the outcome? What should I do? So he assesses, he thinks on that, and he creates his own roadmap. He does not know whether that roadmap is correct or wrong. But there is no Krishna. Since there is no Krishna, this Arjun decides that at the end of the day, in corporate Mahabharata, I have to become my Krishna. I have to find out my way. And from every incident, he finds out his own way. So this is a connection which between the Arjun in the corporate Mahabharata. Here it is, Raman.
Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for giving the first questions which has been asked by or the LPC core committee member. Then the second point is for the viewer. So what will be the take home points for the reader as well as our
Yeah.
viewer?
No, it's very important because, when I wrote the book, that time first thing came to my mind is that, why anybody should read this book. Means, see, at the end of the day, your experiences will be your experiences. It should result into some value addition to others, right? So basically, first thing that reader will get out of this book, correct? The first thing that reader will get out of this book is, see, we do not have very simple, correlatable corporate stories. See, we have read, very hi-fi books. In these hi-fi books, many times they are very good to read. But can, when you look around, can you read the story and relate, yes, it happened with me? Correct? It is as simple and as common that, हाँ, ये तो मेरे साथ हुआ है, ये तो मैंने देखा है. Are you getting it? So first is simple Indian corporate correlatable simple stories. Correct. Second thing is that, these stories are not more than 1.5 or 2 pages. So basically what happens, after the story is there, each story will have certain elements. Correct. If I very, I don't know, because of the background I am not able to show. Yeah. So if I show you this particular part, correct, so every story will be followed by a lesson, which will be a, lesson which is related to marketing. So the story will add value because the audience for this book is going to be corporate people, and corporate people, unless there is something take home points for them, will not go. Then there is a third element in that, is there is a self assessment. So at least 4 to 5 questions are there based on the story to assess yourself. What is going to be your self assessment with that? And based on the answers of the self assessment, the next chapter is going to be, the next thing is going to be, what is a recommended behavior change, right? So along with my PNL management role in Cipla, and currently I have joined as a vice president to MQR, correct, for sales and marketing. So you handle teams, but along with that, I also did my MA psychology this year. Correct. I completed my April, my results are awaited. So that helped me, the psychology angle to understand that well, the behavior change. So based on the self-assessment, what should be the exact recommended behavior change for your management style? So a reader, if he reads that story, he will get an understanding of a marketing lesson. He will get some self-assessment, and based on the self-assessment, he will get exactly what is going to be the recommended behavior change for him. And third thing is that, if anybody wants to present, for example, I can show you how clear it is. So any story, correct? So we'll have a lesson, self-assessment, behavior change, and last page I have put a QR code. Being a marketeer, we do this type of things. So last page there is a QR code. See, anybody, any marketeer or any professional who wants to present this in their meeting, they should have a ready-made presentation with him. So the whole book is converted into a PowerPoint presentation. Correct. So you can just scan the QR code. Once you scan the QR code, you will get a link, and the whole book get downloaded into a PowerPoint presentation. So if you want to tell a story first, after this story, all the essence of the book, every story essence of the book will be there in the form of PowerPoint presentation. So people who are marketeers, for them, Indian stories, easily correlatable stories, then it is going to be a lesson, then it is going to be a self-assessment, then it is going to be a behavior change, and then it is going to be a complete free download of a PowerPoint presentation for them. So this will be the take-home points, for the readers in that. And I think I have exactly consumed 10 minutes that you gave me. I started at 11:10, 11:20.
No,
I would
sir,
like to
we will
close.
give you the 2 minutes more. Just our
Sir, yeah.
audience, they will like to, they wanted to listen more about the author. Number one. Number two, they wanted to just understand what inspired you to write this book. And we have not heard about like the to whom we are going to dedicate this book. So
No,
in a one
dedication
question,
is
3 points are there.
See, dedication is always mother. Correct? It cannot be anybody else. Nobody can teach you more than mother. But see, inspiration is nothing. See, for me, to be very honest, it acts as a good stress buster. Means, see, meeting good people in life is very important. So I met few guys who told me, rather than talking about people, or rather than doing something which is not productive and doing something else, it's better you remain busy with yourself. So I'm thankful to that guy because he met me at my formatting years. It helped me to, keep myself busy in that. So this lockdown period post, see, my daughter is in 10th. So she used to study and I used to sit for writing. So both of us used to put good hard work in. She used to study 10th. I used to write something likewise. So we gave company to each other. She used to do night study a lot of. So in night, I used to write a lot, sit and that. So that helped and it happened. So hote ho gaya wo. But this is my second book. Like my first book has been a Marathi book, which is because I always feel, we tell, we have to do something for our mother tongue, but except talking, we don't do anything. So my first book has been a Marathi poems book, which is Manorekhit, correct? And so this is my first book. That is, so that was so lockdown helped me basically to collect myself in terms of apart from work, to have one book on Marathi and second book on, but second book is more applicable. I didn't share this in the corporate circle, first book, because I think very limited people who will understand Marathi were there, so I have not shared that one. But the second one is very applicable to everybody. That's the reason first time I decided to go public on that. Thanks, Raman. It's a great
Before
platform.
moving, many Arjuna has same question, same, I think, confusion we can say. Where will get this book?
You will get this book. See, the Flipkart is having paperback version and Amazon Kindle is having ebook version. Correct.
Okay.
So you can type the name which is there, correct, in that. And it's what I suggest is that it's a very common man language, because we all are basically medical reps, correct? Everybody at our good positions, but कभी ना कभी हमने सबने बैग हाथ में उठाया है. तो वो simplicity है language का. I hope people who will read, they will understand.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I am thankful for the platform. And I am more excited about this international market, particularly the entry in CIS market, something which I am excited to listen.
Okay. So thank you so much to our Padma Shri Dr. Shashank Doshi sir, as well as thank you so much to Archie Doshi sir for this is the best book that I feel it, Arjuna in Corporate Mahabharata. Thank you so much for the innovation. Now we will go on to the in a short way. I will hand over it to the Archie sir as well as the before that. Just say come back to LPC-46. That is the global. The topic of today is the changing landscape of the pharmaceutical marketing across the globe. We have a three renowned speaker, Mr. Anjani Kumar Pandey, as well as along with him, Mr. Shashank Mohan and Mr. Pankaj Upadhyay, and also the consistent the panelist Praveen Pandey. Now, along with the Praveen Pandey today, we have a auditor, Archie sir. He will be continuing. Thank you so much. Over to Archie sir, you and Praveen.
So I take the pleasure of introducing the eminent panel, correct? And see, when I looked at the presenters today, there was a time, I also took a session in LPC, correct? But when first time when I looked at the topics and the kind of experience the speakers are having, it was wonderful, correct? So first topic, will be suitable for many of the aspirants. See, pharma today, I will tell you, is full of, the young blood. There are many young MBAs from good school. They are coming and all are ambitious. What I could see in the young generation is the ambition was very clear. So starting the export business in pharmaceutical industry, this is a wonderful topic. And we have a very eminent speaker, Mr. Anjani Pandey, for that. Let me have few words, about our eminent speaker. Mr. Pandey, is right now working with Bharat Serum Vaccines, which is a very good company for last 5 years in the capacity of senior GM, exports, head of Africa and the Middle East market, right? Extremely beautiful, 30 years of experience. Out of that, 20 years purely into the international business. So you cannot get a better person who can be an authority to talk on that. He has worked practically into various international locations, correct? In fact, 15 years of the professional career he has spent into Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, as a GM or MD, with Seven Seas Pharmaceuticals, Nigeria, Shalina Pharma, Cadila Pharma, Merck. So right now we have one of the best authority who could talk correct in this particular topic and guide all of you. Please feel free to understand more and share your views on this. Mr. Anjani Pandey, over to you.
Thank you, Ashish, for a nice introduction, and it's my pleasure to be associated with this LPC-46. And before moving, I would like to congratulate Ashish for your nice book launch today. And I hope, we as a speaker can get a copy of it.
Yes, yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen now. Is it visible?
It's coming right now. No, yeah, it's visible now. You can make it full screen.
Yeah. Yes. It's just taking a little time. Yeah. So today I'm just actually chosen to speak on how to start the export business and to check our preparedness, in exports when you were entering in exports business. Though I know, here not only the startup guys, new guys. There are people, those who are participating in this webinar. It is maybe already they are into exports as well as in manufacturing sector. So it is going to give a good insight. Even if you are a new entrant in exports market, as well as you are thinking of entering into the exports market. You are a manufacturer, you are a startup, you are a just a regional manager, general manager. Because export, when it comes to the export, it's a very, very, very fancy word, and it's a very attractive word for all our new entrants. That I need to reach out to all international market. I want to go into the exports. You are already a very star performer in your domestic market. You are having very good business in your domestic market. Now you have either spare capacity or you are having a spare resources through which you just want to enter into exports market. So before entering into exports market, how we need to get prepare ourselves. So let's check how is our preparedness. Okay. So before even entering in the exports market, we need to keep our house in order to start this exports business. And the first and foremost things which comes in mind and the lesson is to decide, are you going for exports or import? Always people are thinking, if you are going international, whether I'm going to import the things from outside, bringing at our doorsteps to provide those things which are available in national market to our indigenous people or to local people, or we are going to make available our product in international market. And once you have decided, then you can move on. So let's check. What I feel, exporting out is always an easier for you than importing if you are from the developing worlds. Because always if you see if either you are in importing countries or you are at the exporting side, export is always being given due respect, and every government they want their indigenous product, local product to go global. and they support you. But when you are going to import, you have to follow the process which government of India or any government has laid down for having the foreign products in the countries. Okay, registration, regulatory issues, then the quality issues, then the GMP issues. A lot of things are there before you actually get the go-ahead to import the product. Also, if you have a comparable product here in your domestic market, you will find that what you have thought of, it is under the restrictions. So you can't just import. Even if you want to go other way to, use your all, the explanations as well as the tactics to import the product, you still have a lot of things, a lot of gates to pass through. But when it comes to export, you have a product which is available with you, good quality product. You have international market. You just, find yourself how to reach to those destinations, how to get those buyers, and then get yourself, acquainted with all those things which are required to exports, and export your product. And your buyer will find all the way to get the goods inside their country. So if you're ready, let's check some common questions. Ask yourself if I'm ready. So I would just, go the point wise. What's your, readiness? So first, do this SWOT analysis of your exports capabilities. If you are actually looking for going into the exports market, those who are already there, the questions, this kind of things may not be very, very, you can say new. But yeah, those my new colleagues, new generation guys, those who want to actually enter into exports market, please look at it very carefully. So first, what you need to do is to have your company, find out your company name, get your company registered, have an office, and obtain all the necessary licenses. First is the registration with the corporate affairs, then have FDA approval, because if you're pharmaceutical, and here I'm talking about the pharmaceutical. Okay, so when you are going to be a pharmaceutical exporter, you need to have FDA license. Get your GST, because you are going to source your goods locally, and currently our new tax law, which is GST, you must get yourself registered with GST. Then you should also have Udyog Aadhaar, etc., and then have your bank account in good bank. Then after having this, the primary licenses, you need to go for having an export license, which you need to register your company with Director General of DGFT, Foreign Trade, and apply for import exports code number, which is import exports license. Okay, once you have everything with you, then you need to go for finding the destinations or the countries where you actually want to go for exporting your products. So here again, I would suggest here, please do not rush, because you have more than 250 countries as a destination for exports. But check yourself again. If you have done your SWOT analysis, your strength, your weakness, or your challenges, and you can see the opportunities and all the threats. If you have evaluated all those, I would suggest, please do not rush for so many countries at a go. Just select few countries, 1 or 2 countries, or maybe 3 countries, and focus on that. So once you have got those countries, to have selected for particularly for your products to where you are going to export. And in here again, I would suggest look at if you are a startup or if you are going to start first, look at low-hanging fruits. Go for less stringent in regulations countries, maybe in Africa, maybe some countries in South America, maybe some countries in Southeast Asia, where you can get an easy entrance, through the kind of connections you have in those countries. After having selection of the countries, establish your contacts, find the buyers, and do the due diligence. Okay, because once you are having the contacts there in those countries, I would suggest, because everyone, those who are trying to enter in exports market, you must be having some kind of contacts in few countries which has actually inspired you, or which has actually motivated you to go into the exports market. So establish contacts, find the buyers through your contacts, or maybe your contact, himself or herself, they are the business people there in that country. They will help you. Okay, and do the due diligence of any buyer, whether he is recommended or she is recommended by your contacts, or you have found them through through the public domain, or through the internet search. Do a proper due diligence, because if you don't do the due diligence, you will find yourself in a big trouble sometimes. Or if you have done good diligence, you can find that you are in a good hand and your business is very successful. Okay, select a reliable partner, and once you have done the due diligence, you have got a good partner who is also reliable. After when any reference is coming, or any buyer is knocking your door through some references, I'm sure, they are good buyer, and you can rely on him or her. Okay, so after having the reliable partner, I insist, or I'll suggest you have to get a legal contract in place with those buyers and your partner. Here again, I would suggest that one's business may be an opportunity, but if you are going for a long-term business relationship with your partner, must have a legal contract in place. When you are having a legal contract in place, you must define your Incoterm, that is international commercial terms and conditions, which are involved in particularly in exports related things, and also to how to get the money. So once you are you see that there are the Incoterm well defined, you will not be cheated, or you will not be having any financial issues with your buyer, or everything is going to be transparent when it comes to the international business. So your buyer knows what is his obligations, and you know what is your obligations when it comes to the export or when it comes to the import in that countries. Know the regulatory requirements of the exports countries, because every country has got its own regulations for importing pharmaceutical products. There are the regulatory bodies, those who have laid down all the import procedures. Let's say, for example, you need to get the product registration done, or you need to get the special authorization of the product for emergency import in that particular countries. What are the documents which are required when you are doing some kind of opportunity exports from India, or importing products in that countries? Um, all those things are available either at the country's website or country's regulators website. Let's say, for example, if you are exporting something in Nigeria, you go to their regulator website, which is a regulatory body, is NAFTAC. Or if it is in Ghana, you know the FDA Ghana, you can just go to their website. They have listed all those requirements for the registration of the product, or for the any kind of opportunity or emergency importation in that country. You can also go to any other countries, whichever you have decided to, as your destination to export. Everything is there in the public domain today. And before even thinking of going for the exports, you first, after selection of the country, you must open their website, must open their regulatory body's website, and see what are the regulatory requirements of that particular countries. You might have decided to export product A because you have the source of getting those products. But once you go to the website of the or the regulatory requirements of the country, you will find that the product is no longer allowed for the importation. Then you find yourself at the defeating side, because you don't have any other product source. So once you have decided that this is my country, this is my product, go and check the regulatory requirements of those importing countries, and then move on. Check your resources, because after having everything is done, you find, okay, I'm having the order, I have selected my product. Do I have a manufacturing site to get the product manufactured? Or if I'm a manufacturer, do I have that capacities? Okay, is my manufacturing site is having approval from that particular country or countries where I want to export my products? Do I have the manufacturing capacity? Because if I'm having a tablet manufacturing line, I'm having a liquid manufacturing line, or I'm having a capsule manufacturing line, do I have that much of capacity to fulfill the requirement? Because many times, if you look at the manufacturers, if you are a manufacturer, you know how much capacity I have, and if you are experiencing a lot of order inflowing in your companies, then many times you give a lead time that, okay, I will be able to provide you this much of stocks after 2 months or 3 months, because your capacity is fully occupied, and at that moment you don't have even a plan for expanding your manufacturing capacity. So you must check your capacity before promising any order of your buyer. Same way for the new manufacturers, entrant, those who are as a merchant exporter entering into this export market. So you also need to check where you are going to get your manufacturing done when you are having the order in your hand. So and whether that manufacturer is having the capacity to deliver your product, whatever you want. Then again, after having those, do you have the dossiers? Because it is the regulatory requirement of the country that you register the product. And when you want to register the product, those products dossiers needed. And dossiers are nothing but a full documents where right from the manufacturing process to the approvals and everything is listed, even the clinical studies, certificate of analysis, DMF, and all are combined there, okay, in one dossier, which you need to submit in importing country with the FDA. Once you have even the dossier with you, do you get the samples? Because many times for your your own brand, you may not be having the doses, samples ready. So you need to contract with your manufacturer for getting that samples in the beginning. That might be a very tedious job for the manufacturer also, to just give you 100 samples or 200 samples as per the this regulator requirement. So in those all those things are actually taken into the account, and when you are checking your resources, you should have all those things checked and clarified with your and take the assurance from your partners, manufacturers, or if you are the manufacturer, you should also know that yes, if I'm going for a new registration or new product, a new market, can I have all those things in order? Then if you are a new entrant, you should also check your financial capacity and capabilities, because many times if you are a new entrant, you don't have much big finance available with you. Even those who are thinking of entering into exports market, even to do initial work, or you can say getting finding the manufacturers, you need to travel out from your base headquarter or base district to maybe Uttarakhand, to maybe Himachal, or to maybe Chennai or Hyderabad, or even to Sikkim. All those are actually the attract a lot of expenses. And can you meet those? Those who are already into this exports business, you have money. I'm not doubting there. But those who are the new entrant coming up into this exports business, you should have at least initial financial backing to fund your initial activities, making the agreements with the your manufacturers, having a contract written by a lawyer. All these are going to attract at least some the funds which you should have access to those funds. So once we have all those things, and you have obtained an order from your buyer, please check before even committing to those orders. Check the agreed terms and conditions with your buyers, as well as with your the partner manufacturing company, or the manufacturers, those who are already having their manufacturing but not into exports. You should also check all these the INCO terms, what you have discussed with your or having in agreement, so that you are not making any mistake when it comes to having the price negotiation, or the way it is spelled out in your contract of delivery of the goods, whether it is X works price, or it is FOB, or it is CFR, or it is CIF, whatever terms in INCO term is spelled out in your contract. Okay, so after all these things done, I think you need to then process your order with your manufacturer, or if you are a manufacturer, you process your order for production as per the plan and get ready for the goods for exports. And here again, these are the because of the time constraint. Also, I'm just keeping it short. But from here, your export process starts. So, what are those exports process from here onward? Is the big companies, or those companies, those who are already in exports, they are having their logistics department, and their logistics manager is good enough to handle all those exports process. But if you are a new merchant exporter, or entering into the exports market, how will you get those? You have the goods available, you have the market there, you have the buyer, but how to get those exports process done. So for that one, I would suggest have a good custom house agent. They are available. You can find their details in public domain. Get a good custom house agent who is going to help you getting the goods exported from India without any hassle or without any trouble. Whatever is there, if you are a new entrant, you just give your invoice, packing list to your custom house agent. He will start processing that one, and as and when he is asking for a documents which are available with the manufacturer, which are available with you, you just keep sending him, and you will find that you got your product exported to the final destination, and you have a piece now. So with this, I would say thank you for having patience and listening. And I'm sure, if you are a new entrant or existing manufacturer looking for exports, and also those who are already in exports may give you some kind of guidance from here. And if you need any kind of help, you reach out to me. I'm always available for any kind of help. Thank you so much.
Sir, it was very nice hearing to you. I would like to just summarize your total words. Here you were talking about export business, and it has started from why export is better than import because of multiple restrictions in India. Apart from that, we have talked about do not in rush. Of course, we have 150 countries to export, but we have to finalize a good country with good customers, and after that, we should go with all regulatory requirement like dossier, sample. Apart from that, manufacturing plant, it has been approved or approval is required, or what is the total process of that particular country. Then we have talked about a financial capacity. Yes, of course, financial capacity is really required because mostly startup companies, which we have known, it's 96% startup company has been closed just because of financial backup. They do not had a good backup for that.
And that's the reason for failure of the companies, many times because of the lack of information available with you, and or the limited information available with you. You don't have much, exposure to those markets, and even the contacts. Those sometimes, if you don't have the good contacts, you fall into, in the wrong hand, and instead of getting the good business, you are almost finding yourself in a difficult zone and proving yourself innocent, that you don't know about that. Okay, but the legal and the regulators, they don't know that whether you are an innocent person or not. They will always go by that the rules and regulations of their countries as well as of your countries. Okay, so before even entering into those exports business, I think there are certain things which you need to keep, as I said, keep your house in order.
Then we end with of course agreement terms and conditions for both. If best, we can hire some lawyer, and then we can proceed. If we are getting manufacture order, then we have to cross check our all terms and conditions.
Correct.
Then we can process manufacturing and we are ready for export.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there are two good questions from different people. One is person with this startup. He has asked how we can compete a company. They have set up of manufacturing plant, and they are approved by many regulatory. And I am doing as a third manufacturing, startup. I have to buy from there. So how we can compete such situation?
The manufacturers are always having an advantage, when it comes to exports. Okay, but as I said, there are a lot of manufacturers, those who are only engaged in manufacturing for third party. Okay, and it is up to your negotiation. And one of the SWOT analysis which I just missed out is, you must have a good communication. Okay, once you have bought you got the buyer, the price negotiation is in your hand. Okay, you negotiate with the buyer the price, and check with the manufacturer if you, whether your cost of goods are coming, which is giving you some profit uh, when it compares with your buyer's price. So as a merchant exporter, if you are starting and you are going to get your product manufactured as third party contract, so here is your negotiation skills comes. They will definitely give you good price. Even before negotiating with the manufacturer about the price, you should know certain parameters, that the raw material price, what is there, what is the packing material cost going to come. Ask about the cost sheet. If you have a good manufacturer with you, they will share with you all the costing sheet. If not, then you just agreed on some price. Okay, and once you have that price in your hand, on the basis of that, you negotiate the price with the buyer. Okay, and keep your margins, keep your decent margin. Okay, which can enable you to survive, and then fix up the contract.
Sir, please close your screen, share the screen.
Oh, sorry.
Sir, second question is from one company finance person, like how our money is assured. Like this is also one small house, and to compete in market they have to give time. Like mostly the customers are not getting ready for advance or else. Then how the money could be assured?
Hey, if you are a startup company, and if you are a manufacturer who is entering into this market, uh, first thing, your reliable partner, buyer. Okay. Second is, I will not recommend to go for any kind of credit sales unless and until you have already made some transaction with your partner who is now a reliable partner of yours. There are other way of also, so you need to either use advance or letter of credit. That is the clear cut advice for all the those who are in exports business. If you have already established a good business with the buyer in the countries, then you can uh, take a calculated risk. Okay, which big companies they are always having, but they again they back up those credit through the ECGC here, which is the exports coverage they give the insurance company. So even if you have that coverage for your buyer, because they do the due diligence of the buyer in that country, and if they say that okay, if you are going to have a 1 crore rupees exports to that country, they charge the premium, and they will give you an exports insurance coverage. So those, if in case in the extreme situation, if you are not getting your money from those buyers, ECGC will provide you the cost of goods. Okay, you will not earn your profit on that one, but you will get your money at least. But for that one, the process is very lengthy. You need to have a clear-cut communication with your buyer, between you and your buyer, and then you can claim the money after that period lapses. So that's it. That is the another way of assuring your money. Otherwise, to avoid all those legal as well as the inconvenient kind of process, you rely on the advance or the confirmed letter of credit from the European or the US bank.
Thank you, sir. One last with a special appreciation from Mr. Hitesh Apeti. He had put 3, 4, 5 questions, but we are just taking one. Like, which is the easiest country for startup?
The low hanging fruit, he is already in Africa, so he knows which country he can allow you to enter. There are many countries like in Africa, in French speaking countries like Togo or Burkina Faso, or you can go to Chad or Cameroon. Okay, these are the low hanging in French speaking Africa where you can enter. There are a lot of parties are there in Africa. So what you can do, you go to the buyer, go to customer and ask for their own product, because they are looking for, they're either having a manufacturing issues there in India with the current manufacturer, or they are having a pricing issue. So you can go with the at least the alternate manufacturers, okay, and discuss with your customer and take the list of products which they are actually getting manufactured in India with the manufacturer A. You can easily switch the site, and you can get the business moving, and you can get your margins whatever you want to have, and it will be a long run. Okay, so getting the new site, getting a low hanging countries like which I've just mentioned, even in Anglophone Africa, Sierra Leone, you go to Liberia, you go to even in some countries like in SADC, you can have Malawi, that you can Eritrea, Djibouti, and all those places. You can get easily buyers, and they don't have very stringent kind of import regulations.
Right, sir. Rest,
Yeah, if you
question will be solved offline. I will share all questions offline to you.
okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me hand over to Joshi sir again.
So
Yeah,
I would like
thank
to
you so
go
much.
ahead with the introduction of the next speaker. Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah. So we have a second brilliant speaker with us, and the topic is also equally interesting, because apart from the African countries or rest of the world, or you talk about the East Asian countries, the another set of important countries is the CIS countries, and we have a brilliant speaker, Mr. Shashank Mohan, who brings a very rich, close to 17 years of a global healthcare professional experience with him, which is focused into the markets like Russia, CIS, Southeast Asia, Europe. So he is a person who has prominently worked into all the pharma majors. All the pharma majors, particularly in the international field, like Dr. Reddy's or Torrent. Dr. Reddy's has a massive presence. Correct? IPCA has a massive presence. Cadila, Torrent, and he has a different dimensions as well as the perspectives from different companies to look at these particular markets. Currently, he works in a very responsible role as a chief operating officer, COO of Xenia Drugs Private Limited, which is a very dynamic organization which focuses on basically in-licensing, out-licensing, particularly rare, challenging, or highly specialized formulations for pharma companies across the emerging markets. So please welcome, Mr. Shashank Mohan, and it will be very interesting to listen his topic on entry strategy in CIS countries. Welcome, Mr. Shashank.
Thank you so much, Archie, for the warm introduction. So the topic today, which I'm going to cover, is basically the CIS pharmaceutical market overview and how you have to enter into various markets. So taking cue from Anjani, whose presentation was very informative on how to enter into various markets, especially into export. CIS is also one of the few markets which has been very different from the other markets. It's getting into organized, but also requires a lot of technical know-how and the regulatory environment. So, I mean, if you look at CIS was basically formed after the USSR was disintegrated in 1991. Currently, it's not a conglomerate like what you have in Europe, where you have the similar regulatory structures. So each country is independent, and each country has its own regulatory timelines, its own MOH, its own distributors. There are certain aspects which are common, but you have to treat each countries individually. So these are the list of 12 countries which is a part of CIS right now. And if you look at the various parameters like what is the population, the GDP growth, the GDP per capita, and especially the pharma market which is there. So total Russia CIS is more than a $45 billion market. And I have tried to categorize the countries based on the various aspects, especially the pharma market, followed by the various parameters like the regulatory environment and the ease of entering into the region. So number one will be Russia, mainly because of the pharma market. It's close to $32 billion, categorized into various channels, followed with tier 2 countries, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, followed with tier 3 countries, which is Belarus, Uzbekistan, and Azerbaijan. Georgia can also come into tier 3, but right now I've kept in tier 4. And rest of the remaining 6 countries will fall under tier 4 categories. Now, if you look at the market overview for Russia CIS, it is one of the key emerging market of the world. You have been hearing about the BRICS. So R is where is the Russia CIS comes into. The total pharma market, it is more than $45 billion, including Russia and the CIS. The good thing is that it is growing both in terms of unit as well as in rates, in terms of value as well as in terms of units. The other peculiar thing about this market, it is highly price driven and it's a branded market. So that the retail, which is the where you can sell and promote your product, is more than 80% of the market, of which OTC is close to 45% and prescription is another 45%. The other also important aspect for this market, it is highly import driven. Most of the countries, they have the imports ranging from 70 to 75% of the market, which gives a lot of scope for companies, especially from India or other parts of emerging markets, to enter into this market. Russia, though it is trying to adopt the 2020 strategy, which is already now over, but mainly trying to have a thrust on the local companies and to curb import, but still there is a lot of opportunity. And the most important is the macroeconomic conditions, like the regulatory changes, the continuous changes in terms of the GMP requirement, the technical requirement, that makes a little difficult for the companies to enter. So if you look at Russia, I'll just briefly take you to a few markets. One is Russia. Russia, the population is close to $143–145 million. And it is mainly fragmented because of the presence of innovators and branded generic companies from India as well as Eastern Europe. Now, if you have to enter into Russia, you have to cater to major distributors. There are 5 to 6 major distributors. It's very organized market, which covers mostly 85% of the market share. So if you have to enter into especially Russia, you have to have contracts with these kind of companies. Also, there are the barriers, which includes the language, local corporate laws, as well as the local bioequivalence laws. However, even though there have been these kind of entry barriers, there are a lot of many Indian companies who have been very much successful in Russia CIS. So if you look at the Russia market or the CIS, it is mostly driven by, like I said, retail, followed by the reimbursement market. So retail, which is contributing close to 79% of the market, and where it is the similar kind of promotion which is happening in India, that you have to follow, go to the various doctors and pharmacies and do the branded promotions. The other one is the specialty market, which is mainly the reimbursement and the hospital markets, where you have to, where there is a chance of promoting if you have the product which is which can be easily which falls under the category of reimbursement, you can go into this kind of market. So other important characteristics of Russia is the pricing. As of now, Russia has also started doing the reference pricing, which will be implemented all across the CIS market from April 2015. The new guidelines which has come for Russia is basically that Russian VE is a must right now. So all the products which they call it as a local clinical trial. So whether it is injectable or it is a solid oral, you have to conduct a local clinical trial. For orals, you have to conduct a local bioequivalence studies, and for the injectables, you have to conduct a local clinical trial. Another major hurdle which has come is the Russian GMP. So even if your plant is a EU GMP or a US FDA approved, you still have to apply for a Russian GMP certification. And once you get the Russian GMP certification, you can start putting your dossiers and looking for the marketing authorization. Product registration in Russia is close to 26 to 32 months time, which is basically 6 to 8 months is for the bioequivalence and the local clinical trials, and rest is for the product registration. The other good thing is that Indian companies are already exporting, and the most of the doctors and the medical fraternity are aware about the Indian pharmaceutical companies. And that's why if a company is planning to enter into Russia, they already have the advantage that it is from India, and that Indian companies provide qualitative and affordable medicines. So these are some of the, I'll not go through the entire details, but these are some of the major companies who have been successful in Russia, mainly because of the strategy which they have adopted. So one of the major companies which is doing hugely well is Dr. Reddy's. Dr. Reddy's started their setup in 1992, and currently they are among the top 10 branded generic companies in the country. So, and they are doing a turnover of close to $300 million, which is phenomenal, and it's almost equivalent to what they're doing in India. Now, another company which is very successful is Sun Pharma, which has overtaken the sales and the revenues of Ranbaxy. Ranbaxy was the company who was operational in Russia, and now with the merger, with the acquisition of Sun Pharma, with Ranbaxy, Sun Pharma has taken that legacy, and it's doing phenomenally well. So Sun Pharma is adopting two strategies. One is into the retail market, as well as with their CNS portfolio, they are going into the reimbursement category. Third company is Glenmark, but I have not mentioned, and another company which is making waves into the CIS market is Lupin. Lupin has recently trying to acquire a manufacturing facility in Russia, and that is how they want to enter into this particular market. Now look at some of the major companies and how they have grown, as well as they're trying to enter into this kind of CIS markets. So these are the major companies and their strategies. Like Sanofi Aventis, they have grown big mainly because of the mergers. Pharma Standard, which is the local Russian company, as well as it has stakes from the European subsidiary. They have been regularly acquiring the various brands and becoming big. Nycomed is another company from Europe. They have been mostly doing the in-licensing model and building their portfolio and trying to enter. Of course, Dr. Reddy's is already there. They have tripled the manning from 220, and now they have currently close to 700 people on board in Russia, resulting the growth. You can see the growth of how they have grown from 90 million to currently close to $300 million. And of course, the reimbursement, which is the segment, which is DLO, has been actively pursued by companies like Janssen Silag, and they have introduced products specific for reimbursement market, and that is how they have grown in CIS markets. And why I would say Russia CIS is a very important market is basically because it's a huge market, like $45 billion, and the major markets which one should focus on is Russia, Ukraine, Uzbek. Kazakh is also a very good opportunity, but it is many Indian companies are present, and also right now it is moving towards mostly local manufacturers. New laws favors localization, but open doors for quality manufacturers. What I mean by quality manufacturers is that in Russia now many companies are looking for some kind of technology transfer or looking for contract manufacturing. They have the local presence, but they don't have the portfolio. So they are looking for companies from India or emerging markets who can give their portfolio enhancement. And like I said, that Indian companies have been present in the market. So product acceptability is already there with various kind of stakeholders. So we can basically categorize, if you want to enter into Russia CIS, into three categories. One is the long-term strategy, which is where you have to enter into tier 1 geography, which is Russia, where you have to find a strategic partner, strategic partner. I mean, if you want to enter into your own field force model, then you have to tie up with a distributor who is present all across the market. Also, if you don't want to invest into own field force model, you have to look for a partner companies like Pharma or Sotex, who are looking for technology transfer kind of deal, and also work with partners either on exclusive or semi-exclusive deal, because investing in Russia will be a huge cost, because the product registration cost per product will be close to $100,000 to $150,000 depending on the product. Plus, you will also have to go into GMP audit, which will be like at least $50,000 to $75,000. So if you are entering into, if you want to work with these kind of partners, then you can have a kind of exclusive or semi-exclusive basis where the partner is also interested in putting some of the initial capital, and then you have security also when you are entering into this market. Coming to the midterm, I would suggest that you should focus on tier 2 geographies like Ukraine and Kazakh, where the registration timelines are slightly easier. For Ukraine, you can have, if your plant is PICS approved, you can go for the product registration and also out-license some of the products for hospital for repackaging. This is some of the strategy which you can use for entering into Ukraine and Kazakh. Coming to the tier 3, which will be the short term, because here the registration will, like markets like Belarus, Uzbek, Georgia, where the registration are easy. You don't need to have a very fancy dossier. You can just get the product registration within, say, 9 to 12 months and find a partner and increase the top line. Now, when you are entering into these three CIS market, these are the key things which you have to be very focused on. One is the partner selection. Like Anjali mentioned, that when you are entering into markets, you have to have a reliable and a credible partner who has a good credit history, or if you have very good long relationship, because CIS market also has been quite famous for its payment issues. So you need to either work on advance or work on LC, or if you're working with certain big names, then you can give them probably on credit. Or the other option is that you give them a product which is very good for their portfolio fit, and then you can enter into local manufacturing or a local repackaging. The other key aspect is product selection, like what is key for every market. In Russia CIS, it is also very important whether you are going for, and which basically gives which segment you want to target. If you want to target into the retail segment, then you have to target those therapies like which are fast moving and easily acceptable by the medical fraternity. So if you are going for a OTC or a retail therapy, gastro and pain management is and anti-infectives are one of the key therapies which you have to look for. If your product is into injectables, then you have to target into the reimbursement or the DLO segment, where you can put your products, and based on the quality and the price competitiveness, Indian companies can have a success in these kind of markets. Now the third and most important is the regulatory approvals. So, like I said, that each country has to be taken separately. Right now, Russia and CIS, they don't have a common platform of regulatory. It's only for the nutraceuticals. Russia, CIS, they are going into the common platform like EU, but that will happen in 2021, and the guidelines are also not very clear. So if you're targeting any country, you got to have a right choice of regulatory agent, because he will be the person who will be facilitating your product into the market, and getting registration will be always critical for a first launch in the market. Then quick approvals from the country, he will be doing the licensing in terms of getting your GMP audits or getting the query responses. So these are the three key major parameters which you have to be very critical for while entering into the CIS markets. And these are some of the challenges which we anticipate and how you can mitigate them. These are the broad issues. One major issues is the regulatory challenges. So you need to have the product approval as per the timelines. So for that, either you have to tie up with a local distributor who is willing to invest in your product, and he is doing the regulatory approvals and regulatory guidance, or you have to finalize a regulatory agent or a regulatory company who helps you doing the technical know-how. The second important is the office establishment. Because of the local laws, which is very different. You need to have a good lawyer in those countries, because the laws keeps on changing. So you need to have a very good law firm taking care of that. Then a lack of critical mass. People will ask that how we are going to reach a critical mass, because there are already big companies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, or Landmark, Lupin present, or the branded Eastern European companies present. So how you can cater to those? How you can fight with those? So one of the strategy is, instead of going for the major tier 1 cities, you focus on the tier 2 cities, which is there in because the geography is spread huge. I mean, Russia has 12 time zones, CIS is also huge. So instead of focusing on the tier 1 cities, you focus on key cities which are tier 2 or tier 3 cities, and then start working on getting your brand remembrance. Similarly, aggressive promotion and promotion into these countries will help you in getting into the recognition with the stakeholders. And last but not the least, you have to find a strategic partner, because hospital and tender sales are picking up. The market is going towards local manufacturers and towards the hospital segment, and it is increasing from 25 to 30, and going forward it might increase 35%. So you have to find those kind of partners, companies like Pharma in Russia or in Uzbek Inom Healthcare. They can just help you in getting into these kind of segments. So this is just a quick summary on how one can enter into CIS market. It's a very important market. Like people say that you can love CIS, you can hate CIS, but you can't ignore the CIS, because it's one of the key markets, and you have to be present if you have to make your company a success. So thank you very much. This is all what I have for this presentation.
Thank you, sir. Please close your screen.
Sure.
It was very nice and informative session for many people, and we are getting really many appreciation from Africa, from CIS, and from India. So let me summarize once. As Mr. Shashank has talked about entry strategy for CIS market, one of the toughest, second toughest market we can say. And he started about population, then the technical requirement of CIS market, mostly for 12 countries. Then we have moved about two good information we have found, especially like 85% of market has been covered by 5 distributors, and like mostly 45 to 50% of OTC sales on retail. That also it's very good information. Then CIS, and especially in Russia, like it's growing with 7 to 8%, and government is looking after 4% of GDP investment in healthcare sector, which we have noticed here. Some challenges which we have talked, that is really tough thing, which is partner selection from here to CIS market is one of the tough selection. Then product selection, because we do not have any RCPA status, whatever available it's online or from export data. Then regulatory approval. This is one of the biggest challenge for CIS market, which we have noticed. This is also good informative thing, like long term, mid term, and short term. Like more long term, if you have to go, then you should look for Russia. Mid term, we have to look with Ukraine and Kazakh. Then for short term, we can look Belarus, Uzbekistan, and Georgia.
Right.
This information we have got, and some other strategy which we have seen. So offline people can see this. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Apart from that, one question has asked by one of DRA manager.
Huh?
How to get these guidelines of common CIS countries?
So currently, I mean, it is not very much open in the open space, but there are certain regulatory agents who are helping you because each country has its own MOX. But the problem with CIS countries, it is there in local language, which is in Russian. So you have various consultants and regulatory agents who can help you to give a common guideline. And otherwise, if anybody is interested, we have the guidelines for the CIS markets. I mean, our company is focusing on licensing and licensing out, so we can always help you offline in how to enter into these kind of markets and what are the recent developments in these countries.
One of the question had rise from Mr. Viraj Pawar, I hope his name. He's asking, what is the impact of licensing in developing connections?
Sorry, come again.
The question is, what is impact of license for developing connection in export market?
So it's like once you have the product which is already you have already manufactured in you, and you have already have the R&D. So you can always license out to various companies, because like I said that in Russia, CIS, not many companies have a robust portfolio. So depending if you have a very good product and your product is already have the PE approvals from Europe or US FDA, you can always license out to various companies and get a good licensing fees, as well as you can enter into contract manufacturing arrangement. So if your product is good, there will be a lot of opportunities of getting good licensing fees, as well as a lot of companies will be looking out for your product.
One query has raised with Mr. Manu. He's one of our global speaker also.
Okay.
BU head for Philips, Kenya. He is expecting some information about nutraceutical market in CIS, especially in Uzbek and Ukraine, how it is.
So total nutraceutical market of Russia CIS is close to $3.5 billion, and it is categorized into basically three major segments, which is the digestive nutraceuticals. Then you have the wellness nutraceuticals, and the third one is the common nutraceuticals, which is for cold and cough. So these are the basic three categories which is there. For nutraceuticals, you need to have basic dossiers with the GMP certificates and some product literature. It can get registered within 3 to 6 months. And the good part of nutraceuticals is that if the product is registered in Kazakh, you can start exporting it to the 5 countries, which is Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, Kazakh, and Azerbaijan. So these countries you can start one product registration. You can start exporting it to various markets. Uzbek, it is developing into nutraceuticals, but it is mostly still the pharma products which is taking care. So people are not so much investing into the nutraceuticals.
Thank you, sir. One of a special appreciation by MS Irina Bilinke from Ukraine.
Okay.
She is watching live. She is handling as a CEO for Pattern Licensing Company from Ukraine. So, behalf of LPC, thank you so much. I would like to hand over this session to Joshi sir again.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, is the screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, just
It's visible.
Yeah. Just a minute. It's not becoming full screen. So let me try again. Hold on. Yeah. So I would like to welcome our third and final speaker. He is a very young, dynamic person, Mr. Pankaj Upadhyay. He has worked across various big organizations, various big global giants like Pfizer, MSD, Aventis, and one of the big Indian company that is Intas. So after having a very rich experience with very highly accredited companies, he is right now working as a managing director. He is based at US with Joe's Pharmaceuticals and Company, and he has lot of expertise so far as his global experience are concerned. And today, Mr. Pankaj is going to have a very beautiful topic, that is a changing dynamics into the West African markets. So I think we will have a very diverse speakers, the CIS market, the West African market, the export business, the one of the biggest market or the first market which any Indian company operates globally is the African market. So what are the dimensions, dynamics of the change which are changing for the West African markets will be taken care by Mr. Pankaj. So Mr. Pankaj, please welcome to the LPC platform. Up to you.
Thank you very much for giving a specific introduction, and I like your that young and dynamic. So yes, if I see the speakers after listening to speakers, I see that yes, really I'm young. So on behalf of LPC on this platform, when if I see, I just wanted to share my screen as I'm supposed to talk about the changing dynamics in West Africa. So let me share my screen first. So it's morning here. So good morning to all, especially the viewers for LPC and the panelists, and all due respect to the two speakers. I would like to go through with my presentations. Like I'm here to talk about the changing dynamics in West Africa now. Like if you see West Africa, there are two major countries which is strong in pharmaceutical industry, if I say, like, and in terms of potential and in terms of even like the population, if you see, and all those aspects which is required for specifically in pharma business. So Nigeria and Ghana. But there is earlier Nigeria was known as a place locally. If you talk about the local manufacturer and local companies and the business opportunities, Nigeria was taken as a biggest opportunity available. Still, it is contributing more. But there is a paradigm shift is going on in West Africa, if I say. That if you see West African market, there is Francophone countries, there is Anglophone countries. And now due to the will of local political and the local political wills, and if you see about the regulatory changes and the market dynamics, now as all developing countries are focusing on their GDP and they're focusing on like they're vocal for local. So now the scenario is is changing every day. Like Ghana has come up as a new leader for West Africa now, because due to the stringent and quality structure of local FDA. Now, earlier people used to look at Nigeria if they talk about local manufacturer and local company. If they are looking to buy something from a local company, they used to go to Nigeria and they were preferring. Now, due to the regulatory standards and a long effort of local companies here, now the paradigm has shifted and is changing. It's not shifted yet, but it is changing. Now Ghana has become a name that where the neighboring countries, if you say, they even if any product is registered here in Ghana, they easily accept. In case of like if you talk about the business related to ministries and government business and government tender, if your product is registered in Ghana, you will be well accepted in neighboring countries nearby Ghana. So West African country, if I talk about, Ghana is now coming up, and this is one paradigm shift in Ghana versus Nigeria. So I'll move to my next slide. Let's have a understanding about the marketing structure, how the different segments are doing. Like still OTC is the biggest market, is contributing 34.7%, followed by anti-infective, cardio, and diabetic. And the smallest market is oncology and CNS now. But if I talk about the fifth, now opportunities also available in those markets. Every market, if I say those markets which is in a specialty like CNS and oncology, because there is if you say talk about companies who is participating or who is bringing in products, they are very few, and due to the high-end molecules and like the facilities are not available here to manufacture, importers are having good opportunity, like other countries, those who have capability like India, Russia, or like China or US, UK, they can enter into a specialty market very easily, and it is not explored yet very that's why it is not contributing too much. But if you see the cases, especially if I talk about CNS, the CNS segment is having a lot of patients, lot of problems is there in West African countries, but due to unavailability and due to the companies is not focusing on that segment, this market has not been explored yet. So now the companies have started, if I say companies, a lot of companies are coming up with specialty segments and specialty products. And even though OTC and anti-infective cardio-diabetic is contributing big, but if you talk about opportunity, molecular-wise, there is still opportunity available, because if you see anti-infective, like meropenem, like imipenem, these molecules are still not being very frequently used where it is supposed to be used. So there is space available for high-end antibiotics. Even in cardiovascular, if you talk about, there is a lot of opportunity for different molecules, because if I see the market here, still the users of drug is almost 10 years, like is 10 years old, like in terms of users and of drug, different category of drug. Now, if I compare with the other country and other world or other pharmaceutical industry, so is gap of 10 years. So there is a lot of molecule which is not been introduced and not been explored. So now people are exploring it, people are coming in. So opportunity is lying there in the specialty. Let's move to the next topic. What I have, like if I talk about the growth, I'm when I was looking at this, I was also surprised that even in COVID period, the respiratory market is declining. And if I talk about the other segments, anti-infective, cardiovascular, diabetic, CNS, oncology is growing. And as I said earlier, the CNS oncology is growing faster than any other specialty, because now new companies are coming. Products are being introduced by even local company who is importing from other countries, and even there are company who is coming up with their own portfolio and they are marketing here with regulatory approvals and all. So now people are reaching up to the patient level wherever there is a demand. Now product supply and availability is people are working on that. So the opportunity, due to the opportunity, this market is growing very fast. If I talk about the paradigm shift as per my presentation, local versus others. Like if I say local versus others, there is local manufacturers, and there are companies who are basically other countries companies, those who came here, though you used to come here and market their product. They don't have a base. They basically work on distribution basis. So the paradigm shift is like due to the regulatory changes. And earlier, as per 2012, if I talk about 2012 regulation of government, there were 33 products was restricted for importation. Now, the recent update, which is about to come, but the list was shared with the government, is around 150. And as per the recent discussion going on, probably 40 products will be restricted again. So, and mostly if I see that list, mostly are the common product manufactured by local companies. And just to flourish those local companies, as every country is putting its effort, and every countries are putting their effort to develop their local manufacturer, because it is directly related to GDP and the foreign currency. So the government and the local regulatory authorities are also changing and supporting the local manufacturers. So maybe down the line, like coming 1 or 2 months or maybe 3 months, you will get a news that there is a new list of restricted product in West Africa, especially Ghana. So, and if I talk about importation policy, import policy and of local government, as I talked about local government import policy, there is also change going on in the healthcare sector in the terms of practice. Practice, if I mean to say, the end user means doctors, the nurses, and the medical fraternity. These, due to the regulatory category, if I talk about especially the regulatory rules, they are supposed to prescribe generics. But due to the health insurance constraint and all those unavailability and not ever having a lot of companies as a local manufacturer, there is challenges in terms of product availability and if I'm not mistaken, in quality as well. So the end users now are preferring branded products. Companies are also started promoting on prescription branded products, branded generics. And now healthcare professionals, due to their need, sometimes if I say now almost 20 to like 30%, 20 to 30% OPDs and all hospitals, they are generating like prescription by product name. And it is being also sometimes it becomes challenge for the hospitals and institutions, those who do tender and procure stock. So it will end up with the expiries and all those things. So although it is happening, but there is a paradigm shift on branded selections. If I talk about, then there is similar, there is a change going on rate versus prescription. Earlier and still West Africa or whole Africa, if I talk about, it is a price-driven market. And if you have a competitive price as a company, then you can get a bigger chance of business. But now, if there are companies have came in picture, those who are working on prescription and branded promotion, and they are also getting good business and they are flourishing. And if I talk about profit margin, as I'm also operating a company, the profit margins and all those things are better in terms of prescriptions, because you have space to maintain quality, you have space to maintain your stringent regulatory authorities, and you have space to maintain your operations. But if you talk about the like rate dependent, somehow I feel that it limits you to explore the market. Because if you have limited as like margins to play, then you will not be able to reach all those micro interiors and all those places, because sometimes the payments are also a issue for these areas. So moving to the last slide, like opportunities. So as we talk that there is a paradigm shift going on in every therapy segment, even in prescription habit, even in regulatory changes and the will of political and local decisions. So there is opportunity available, even though there is a lot of changes going on and changes will come. OTC market still is the major contributing market, and there is a lot of opportunity, especially in terms of nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals, if I see, there is few US UK companies, those who like very rule that market, but still opportunities are available, because it is not very much flooded by the brands, flooded by the companies. So OTC market is still available. If you talk about prescription-based market, if I talk, yes, just I said that the habit of end user is changing. So companies, those who want to enter into these area or these West African market, and if they are willing to launch a new product, they can go for that prescription-based market, high-end molecules, where it need to be followed by a prescription and recommendation of authority, that unless there is no prescription, the patient can't use. So, and apart from that, if you talk about new molecule, as I told you that every segment, if I talk about, there is a gap of like molecular shift. Still, West African market, we are using very like traditional regime. If I talk about traditional regime, there is opportunities available in every segment. If you see other pharmaceutical market available, the molecular use is on like people are using everything what is available. But here, due to reach is sometimes is a problem, so the gap is there. So companies can come with new molecules. And technology based marketing, this is very interesting but untouched market. If you see, as I have seen that most of the speakers are from India, so if I talk about Indian market, you can see there is a lot of e-commerce websites are available now. They are into distribution, they are also marketing through like companies are marketing their product through that e-commerce websites. And now it is people are also buying it. People, they don't want to go out. So same scenario is is available in Ghana now, but unfortunately, there is no e-commerce company available till now dedicated for pharmaceutical industry. So this is the biggest opportunity, if I say, is a vacant space. Whomsoever comes first, he will get a like opportunity to become a brand. So, and if I talk about my last point, that is branding and branded promotions. It will help in OTC marketing. It will help in like prescription business. As if you are going for the generic marketing, there is a competition in rate and there is no limitation for rate. So the best way to go about, talk your quality, talk your USP, talk about what technological transfer you are giving to that country, talk about what is the standard of your product and how they can be benefited. So this is all about I wanted to talk. If people have any inquiries and queries, they can ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pankaj. It's a really nice informative session for West Africa, where you have started with challenging dynamics of West Africa. A regulatory challenge is, of course, always for left, right, and center for West Africa. We have talked some about market share of OTC and antibiotic, which is almost covering 60% of total, which is really 70%. I'm sorry, 70% of total, which is really a tough. Then after that, fastest growing market, we were talking about onco, CNS, respiratory, and followed by lifestyle disease like diabetes or blood pressure or such things. Then antibiotics still, it's in growing phase. Paradigm shift, which we have talked about local versus others, that is challenge for worldwide. We can never come out from this. And regulatory clause, again, it's a common phase which we are facing in international market, with lesser in Ghana, but yes, tougher in Nigeria and francophone countries, FW, which we can say. Import policy, which dynamically changing with worldwide. Even India, some policy has been changed, and Africa, it's multiple changes, especially in West Africa and North Africa, which we have noticed in last 2-3 years. Then we were talking about rate versus prescription, and of course the opportunity, which is OTC opportunity, is always there in Africa because it's a price game. Or the simple thing is believing like policy, whichever available in market, it will be sold if price is okay. Quality risk, least bothered people for quality. I think we can say more than 80%. It's just if available on price, it will be sold. Then we were talking about new specialty segment, some techno marketing policies. If we can bring, we can survive in West Africa, and branding. So really, we are thankful to you for giving this opportunity and to getting some ideas from you. One question has arisen from West Africa. I think he must be your colleague. He is Mr. Anil, and he is asking how brand does matter in Africa if the same product is available on, 3, 4, 5 fold less price.
Actually, if I will not make any comment about the country because I'm getting my business here. But the ideology here is people look about on developed countries. If the product belongs to US, UK, is easily being sold whatever is the price. If you are like, for instance, if I talk about local Ghana currency is a Ghana CD. If any product, for instance, paracetamol is available in 2 Ghana CD, and then same paracetamol, some US UK company is selling at 10 Ghana CD. The 10 Ghana CD thing people will buy. And same way, the branding, because branding, it also gives you assurance that it has quality. It has like technology involved. And when you are suffering with some disease, patient, if I talk about patients, when you are suffering with a disease, definitely you will not get compromised unless you have issue with your monetary things. If you can pay, you will go for the branded. So if I talk about the economical structure, the middle class is missing in Africa. Either there is a upper class or rich people are available, or there is people who are struggling for food. So middle class is not there like India. So we can either go for pricing or either go for branding. So there is two market available. There is no third market.
Thank you so much. We are running with very shortage of time. So I would like to hand over this session to Mr. Raman, and a few offline questions will be put in group or for individual to each speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, Archie sir? You would like to take it from the either Facebook or YouTube?
No, I enjoyed what all the speakers were talking, and to be very honest, the things were so insightful, things were so simple. If you just look at last sentence, what Pankaj said, very categorically, India is everything is aimed at a buyer which is middle class, and if you look at Africa, it looks at only two classes. It's top of the pyramid or bottom of the pyramid in that. So I think the vast experience of all our speakers made various points so simple and deliverable. That was a very unique thing today. I enjoyed that thing. So my hearty congratulations and good wishes to all the speakers. It was very well conducted session by all of you in that.
Yeah, we'll go into the take home message by all three speakers. So we'll start with Anjani sir. Anjani sir, one take home message for you. You can unmute, sir.
So from my side, the take-home message for all my viewers and listeners, that if you are entering into an exports market, please prepare yourself thoroughly. There are opportunities sitting, but there are a huge amount of risk also. Do your introspections first, do your SWOT analysis first, and see which are the strength area of yours is there. Accordingly, you choose the market, choose the buyers, and then move on. Okay, there is we call it a calculated risk everywhere. So I would not suggest to go at the beginning and take the calculated risk. There are people, those who are ready to pay you advance. See, one more thing is there. If you are an experienced person, or if you are a person who is entering in this market, exports market, if you don't have any contacts, if you don't have any resources there to find the buyers or find the suppliers, first try and be the bridge of these two, taking the buyer to the supplier, or taking the supplier to the buyer, if through your contacts which you are going to establish. Okay, you have the friends, you have the public domain, all the information is available, and once you have your own setup, website or something, people are getting in touch with you. So try and get as much as possible, prepare yourself, take the full information in your hand, first hand, before negotiating the price, or before negotiating the product, before negotiating the quantities with your buyers and suppliers. Okay, or if you are a manufacturer, please be careful. Money is always at stake, and your credibility is also at stake always. Yeah. Thank you.
Shangwan sir, your take-home message for audience and viewers.
So my take-home message for the viewers is that CIS is one of the CIS is one of the major pharmaceutical market, and it will be growing. And one should look it as a different market rather than using a generic strategy. Each countries are different. The only thing is you have to have a good and a right and reliable partner when you are going into these markets, which can also come through the various contacts, or you can go to the various embassies and find who are the major buyers or the suppliers. And regulatory know-how should be available with the companies, because this market is little tricky market where you need to have the local know-how and as well as language barrier is there. But there are a lot of means and ways available in the pharma domain where you can how you can enter into these markets. And like I said, that it's the market you cannot ignore. So it is the market, and you have a lot of Indian success stories as well as for this market. So it's the market to look for.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Uh, um, from my side, the take-home message will be always there will be change, but change also comes with opportunities. So we need to find out where are the opportunities available, and if you can really find out where is the opportunity and you can identify it, then your growth, your establishment is going to flourish. That is, nobody can challenge you, and you will be the successful entrepreneur or a company, or if I talk about the like professional. So identify opportunities and grab it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir. We'll go on to the last part now. Thanks, word of thanks. So thank you so much, all the LPC viewers as well as the audience, those who has watched us live audience that we got it today. An average of the 40 audience they were the live on Facebook and YouTube both together. People reach what we got is it's close to 600 people for our video, and thank you so much for the be live with us. And our all three eminent speaker. First, I would like to thanks Mr. Anjani Kumar Pandey sir. You have taken a very nice topic today, the starting and the export business in the pharmaceutical industry. Second, thanks to Shashank Mohan sir. Nice topic, entry strategy in the CIS country. And Pankaj sir as a dynamic in the West African market. So thank you so much to all our three speakers as well as viewers and both our panelists, Archie sir and Praveen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.